So, hope this has been really helpful with that isolated analysis. This is an exercise you can do at home, just in general, something that you can sit down and do as a quick literature exercise and very quite fun, especially if you try it with some random text that you haven't studied before. But now we'll have a chat about extrapolation. This is all about fleshing out our train of thought, which encourage you guys to do, because this is going to lead to oftentimes the most original and interesting analyses. So let's look at an example so you can get what extrapolation means. It essentially means expanding out our ideas, um, going potentially even slightly outside of what is obvious in the text. Extrapolation. But looking at this example, her guilt washed over her and threatened to swallow her whole. So we have imagery of water drowning, immersing, and inundating. That's clearly present in the quote. We're not extrapolating yet. But if we were to extrapolate, we might say that the swallow is implying consumption, absorption, and defeat. We put a question mark because we need to question the merits of that statement in terms of, is that relevant to the text? Is that plausible? Is that plausible to say? So that's our extrapolation. This is something that's not obvious. This is a bit of a stretch that we're making and we're extrapolating. So what could a sample analysis of this look like? The use of water as a motive of immersion, coupled with the reference to her guilt, swallowing her whole, evokes the idea of deluge and submergence. It is as though the protagonist no longer sees water as a cleansing force, but instead as something dangerous that could consume her senses and deprive her of her life force. Here, it is her guilt that takes the role of the active agent in the sentence rather than the character. Thus, the author implies her guilt has become so all encompassing that she is at risk of drowning in it and being swallowed by emotions she feels she no longer can control. So you can see how this creates really original and interesting analysis, and it's relatively plausible. We can use this as evidence if we've explained it so well um, and it's plausible enough, we can absolutely extrapolate. Something else to draw on from this little paragraph. Notice the very, very good use of meta language. It's employed really effectively. We have words like motive referring to recurring imagery. We have a reference. Um, what else? Active agent. The writer does words like implies, evokes. We know we need to use quite a bit of those. And also that's combined with very elevated vocabulary in general, deluge, submergence, um, deprive, um, all encompassing. Do you think this is particularly complex? Do you think this is particularly difficult to write? No, that's only a few words, but the language is already so elevated just from adding a few big words because it's combined with really effective and really good analysis, high quality analysis. So this is just to show you guys this is something you all can do and something you all can work on to improve your writing. But keep this idea of extrapolation in mind. Do not be afraid to experiment and add to your ideas and really go outside of the text and what you normally hear the analysis for something should be, as long as you can prove it.